What's up, guys? So I just wanted to make a quick video about Karl Joseph and why he won't be traded till next season, till at least next season, or maybe not at all. I believe that the Raiders are going to be using a hybrid safety set. I talked about this in my draft video. If you go back and watch it when I talked about Jonathan Abrams, I'll show you that in a second. But one of the main reasons why I think that Karl Joseph won't be traded till at least next season is that in 2018, Karl Joseph was the highest graded Raider with a 74.5 overall grade. And I'm not even sure if that's the real grade. I know this is the official PFF post, but some people were saying he had like an 88. So I don't know if that was like a different category or if this is overall. But either way, he was the highest graded defensive Raider player. So with a grade of 74.5, he's still not very great, not very good. I mean, obviously, our defense overall was not very great last year, but I just want to mention that, Joseph played relatively well. 42 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 quarterback hits, and 1 interception. And he didn't even play. He only started 8 games. He was dealing with a lower leg injury for the first few months of the season. So, taking all that into account, he did relatively well for the minimum amount of games, that he played, but also being able to come out as the top rated defensive Raider for the 2018 season is a very, very nice accomplishment for a player that has been on the uptrend and, in my opinion, has played really well, really at least solid. When you look at the players around him, he's been playing on a really shitty Raiders defense, which we need to improve. And I think we have improved when you look at the draft, when you look at the free agent acquisitions, Joyner, Daryl Worley, bringing in guys like Maurice Hurst in the draft, bringing in guys like Jonathan Hankins in free agency. I think we've solidified our defensive line. We have Cleveland Farrell now, along with Arden Key and Mad Max Crosby, with Bell as well, Quentin Bell. I think he will see some third down reps, maybe just rushing the quarterback. He gets to the quarterback quick. He will be somebody that I think we should keep our eye on. I don't think he's going to play a lot of snaps, but we might see him here and there just trying to go after the quarterback. But one of the things that this article talks about is how, Karl Joseph is an ascending player, and a lot of teams are going to be after him after the season once he is up for grabs, because we did not, we declined his 5th-year option. So a lot of teams will be going for him. So this is really a prove-it year for Karl Joseph, which is another reason why I think we're going to keep him, is because he's going to be playing really well. And as this article mentions, he can play both slot positions. Both starting positions. So when it comes to safety, when we're talking about playing both high safety and low safety, or as some people would say, strong safety and weak side safety. But anyway, when you look at what we're going to be doing this next season, and one of the main reasons why I think we're gonna be not looking to trade Karl Joseph is because we are going to be moving into the nickel safety as the hybrid nickel safety package, as Bucky Brooks talks about here in this article. This new package is really a transition into a more hybrid style of play, where you don't have only two safeties. You actually are going to be using 3 safeties. So you run 3 safeties, 2 safeties playing their normal weak and strong side positions, and then you have another safety coming in for a linebacker, or instead of a linebacker, and covering tight ends. So this is a guy that was going to work to cover mainly tight ends in the slot and a few bigger receivers and they will work to limit the impact of a guy like Rob Gronkowski or of a Travis Kelce or even of Antonio Gates, who obviously is not very great anymore, but Chargers have another really good tight end. I forget his name, but either way, it's to limit the effectiveness of guys like that who have been killing us for decades. Or when you look at all of the great tight ends in the league and what they're able to do, we're looking to shut that down. And we brought in another great cornerback in Trayvon Mullen, and we also have Daryl Worley that we also have been bringing up and played really, really well last year, along with Garyon Conley, who is probably one of the best uh, young cornerbacks in the league that are going to be solidifying our secondary, along with the pickup of Jonathan Abrams, who, when you look at Jonathan Abrams and when you read this article, which was brought out in April, way before we even drafted him, and in this interview on NFL.com, you're going to see why we drafted him. Because as you see here, I'm someone who can do a little bit of everything. I can play in the slot, I can play in the post, I can play in the box, I can pretty much do whatever you need me to do. So he talks about his fundamentals in tackling and why he is an ideal hybrid safety, because he can do a little bit of everything, and he can cover in the slot, which is exactly what we need him to do. Shut down tight ends. And the other thing, if you go back to this article, is that when you see what Bucky Brooks is describing this package as, basically just describing how you're having a safety playing a linebacker position, or sometimes maybe even an extra cornerback coming in and having three cornerbacks instead of and two safeties. So it's a hybrid because you're exchanging positions and you're having a safety play what is normally a linebacker position to cover tight ends, acting kind of like a safety, kind of like a cornerback. And even if you have a bigger cornerback, sometimes they might come down and play this position as well. So that's why it's a hybrid formation. And the core characteristics of a hybrid safety. The ideal hybrid safety for this package is a hard-hitting defender with corner-like coverage skills. He needs to possess the agility and quickness to shadow slot receivers while also displaying the strength to battle big-body tight ends between the hashes. It's not a coincidence that many of the top hybrid safeties played cornerback in college or early pro careers before transitioning to safety. Who are some ideal big safeties in this league, right? Who do they mention? The first person they mention, and when they're talking about rookie safeties coming in, because this was back when LaMarcus Joyner was just being drafted and was a rookie for the Los Angeles Rams, he's their number one. He's the guy that they think will be the ideal candidate for a nickel package safety, hybrid safety. And that's one of the reasons why, it's such a unique situation that we have, because we have two guys, Jonathan Abram and LaMarcus Joyner, both can play the hybrid safety position very, very well. And this means that we do not need to rely on a linebacker to cover a Travis Kelce and get beat over the middle every time, every game, like we were seeing last season. We actually have some good, fast, hard-hitting safeties that we can have covering in the slot position as a hybrid safety, covering tight ends, which means we will be running three safeties, which is why we will not be trading Karl Joseph, because we will need Karl Joseph to play the strong side or the weak side safety, while LaMarcus Joyner or Jonathan Abrams comes in on the strong side and as a hybrid. So it's more than likely going to be Jonathan Abram, I think, playing the role of hybrid when it comes to on first or second down, specifically if he's not rushing. He's either going to be rushing the quarterback. So he's going to be either blitzing or he's going to be acting to cover tight end as a hybrid safety, I think, with Jonathan Abram. And just to look at a couple highlights, so we can see what he's going to be bringing, in terms of hard hitting, in terms of ability to cover. The ability to make sure you're consistently hitting those tackles, to consistently cover, to be able to take away tight ends. Boom, 99 tackles. Led his team. This is one of the reasons why we drafted him, to come in and solidify this hybrid safety position. So we're going to be running this big safety, big nickel safety package that requires us to have a very, very, very quick, agile, and good coverage safety that's going to be playing hybrid linebacker, essentially, and cover tight ends in the slot. As it says here, although teams routinely have attempted to use the traditional nickel package to slow down the baseball-like athletes thriving between the hashes, the size disparity between tight ends and slot cornerbacks has given the offense a significant advantage in the passing game. Thus, defensive coordinators increasingly rely on three safety defenses in order to pit long, rangy defenders over the slot. Additionally, placing safeties near the box has helped defenses slow down the shotgun running game. That teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and Buffalo Bills featured with outstanding success last season. So it's just explaining how both of these defenses use these nickel safety packages to slow down shotgun running games. And with spread and empty back sets becoming a mainstay of numerous offenses, expect to see defenses turn to their big nickel packages more often this fall. So this was a few years ago. So this is becoming more, obviously, a bigger thing with guys like quarterback in Baltimore. I forget his name. I can't remember his name. But anyway, with more agile, quick running quarterbacks, guys that are going to run, and not just our pocket passers who are going to sit in the pocket and look for down the field. They might try to hurt you with the run game. So having these packages also slows down the ability of these agile quarterbacks to get outside of the pocket and to hurt you down the field. And it gives you the ability to cover tight ends in the slot. So this is one of the big reasons why Karl Joseph is not going to be traded until at least next season. And I honestly think if he plays really well this season, we're going to see Karl Joseph as a Raider for a long time, because he is a really good player, in my opinion, and he has done really well in a very shitty Raiders defense. And that's one of the things that people need to realize, is that they might say, oh, Karl Joseph hasn't played up to his potential, he's not the greatest player, but what has he had around him? 2 sacks, in when he wasn't even completely healthy for the first half of the season. I mean, come on, guys. He had almost a quarter of the team's sacks. And he's trying his best, and he's been actually playing really well for a guy that really doesn't have much help and hasn't had much help, especially since we traded away Khalil Mack. But hopefully, if we can run this package and guys like Jonathan Abram will step up and be these hybrid safeties of the future that will shut down guys like Travis Kelce, and then our cornerbacks can shut down wide receivers, and these guys will not be able to move the ball at all. We will shut them down in the run game, we will shut them down in the pass game, and we will have a dominant defense once again. I remember I heard somebody talking about the Redskins Super Bowl, or I think it was the Redskins, I don't know, one of the Super Bowls way back when we won back in the day. And our defense was so good that we just shut them out. And one of the big reasons why we won that game, we didn't have a great offense. We weren't the best team offensively, but because we won that Super Bowl, was because of our defense. The reason we won that Super Bowl was because of our defense, and we shut them down. They could not score, and they had one of the best offensive teams that season, that whole season. They were just scoring 30 points on every team, and we shut them down. I think they scored 9 points in the end. So this is what John Gruden is trying to do. He's trying to bring this high intensity hybrid safety back into the game, and he's trying to create these packages that allow us to shut down entire aspects of people's game plan, shut down the Travis Kelce's, and we completely use the players we have to ensure we will be successful. And that's one of the biggest things that I think a lot of teams are not doing, is they're not fully utilizing their players or fully putting them into the best positions to be successful. And that's what we're doing with guys like LaMarcus Joyner and Jonathan Abrams. Everybody is saying these guys are the perfect, most ideal hybrid safeties, and that's exactly what we're going to do with them. We're going to put them into these 3 safety sets, which is why all these people talking about trading Karl Joseph, because we already have 2 safeties. Why do we need Karl Joseph? We have Abram, we have Joyner. It's like, yeah, you're right, but we're going to be running 3 safety hybrid sets, which we need a 3rd safety. We need all 3 of these guys, and I think Abram and Joyner will be more than capable of coming in and playing that hybrid safety and covering tight ends in the slot and acting as a 3rd safety and replacing a linebacker. So this is another reason why we don't have to worry too much about, say, Brandon Marshall not being fully healthy, because we're going to be running these hybrid safety packages that allow us to replace one of the linebackers with a guy like Jonathan Abrams. And don't get me wrong, I want to see Brandon Marshall healthy. I want to see him on the field. I wish he was already on the field, because it's getting to a point now where he needs to start proving himself and show that he still has the speed, skill, and athleticism to stay in the NFL, playing as a capable player in the NFL. And if he doesn't come out quick and show that, then I don't think he deserves to, stay on this team. And we need to go pick somebody else up, or allow guys like Jason Kabinda, Markel Lee, and Nick Morrow to move up and to gain more playing time and with the first team and to get more reps, because they're going to be the guys we're going to rely on in that 3rd linebacker position. And I think that all 3 of them are actually great backups, if not solid candidates to be a starter in this league. They just need to get more playing time with the first team if we're going to not be able to rely on guys like Brandon Marshall. So we'll have to see what happens in that situation. I can't wait for Hard Knocks to start. I can't wait to see how all of this plays out. But what I can tell you is that guys like Karl Joseph are going to be playing their hearts out this year. And I can't wait to see how well these guys ball out and how big of a game some of these guys are going to have to prove to the world that they deserve to be Raiders for life, and that they are great players, and that we have made the right decisions. We just have needed to build the right pieces around these players in order to ensure they have success and in order to ensure our team has success going forward. And I think that's what we've done this year. And I think we're going to see a much improved defense, which means all of these players are going to be much improved. So hopefully, hopefully it's not Karl Joseph that is the highest graded defender next year. I'm hoping that it's a guy like Cleveland Farrell, or a guy like Arden Key even, or maybe even Maurice Hurst, just so then we have more sacks and we have a more productive defensive line. And I would very, very much like to see that happen. So that's going to be my wish. But if it's Karl Joseph again and he balls out and it has something like 10 interceptions or something, then I'm not going to complain either. But either way, don't be surprised if this guy balls out. Don't be surprised if we're running a 3 safety hybrid set like I've said in my draft videos if you want to go back and watch them, and like I've said here in this video. We're going to be running this 3 safety set, which means we're not going to be trading away a guy like Karl Joseph who has such great potential. And I know that, if we go and trade him away in a week, everybody's going to be like, oh, look what happened. And you can say what you're going to say, but at the same time, this is what I believe, and this is why I think that we shouldn't and we won't trade Karl Joseph. Anyway, that's all I want to say, guys. Hopefully you liked the video. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'm a Raiders fan for life, but I don't really make Raiders videos that much because I really just don't have the time. I love them. I watch videos all day. I listen to podcasts, so I'm always in the loop, but making videos, I only really do it when I feel like I really have something I wanted to get off my chest or that I feel needs to be talked about. And I've been talking about this in comments and in people's videos, but I haven't really made a video about it, so I wanted to just make one here. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Have a great day.